So most of the issues that he mentioned in the video are part of the DNA of the United Nations Environment Program. It's the environmental voice of the United Nations, and it's been active since 1972. Its mission is, and I quote, to provide leadership and encourage partnership in caring for the environment by inspiring, informing, and enabling nations and peoples to improve their quality of life without compromising that of future generations.
And we are very proud to have the Executive Director of UNEP with us today. And again, he's from Norway.
Norway!
It seems that this country is an incubator for environmentalists.
He has been Minister of Environment and International Development. He's an experienced peace negotiator, and he has also worked for the OECD. Since last year, he is the Executive Director of UNEP. Please welcome Mr. Erik Solheim. Hello. Hello. So, more than 1 billion people still have little or no access to electricity, and over 3 billion people do not have access to clean cooking technologies. Women and children are extremely affected by energy poverty. What sort of solutions does UNEP provide for these people?
Allow me to link this to the big picture, because what happened after the decision by President Trump, I think, was very interesting. We have Schwarzenegger and many others set out what happened in the United States, what happened in business, but let me focus on what happened in the opposite part of the world. China and India, and combined, these two nations are close to 40% of humanity. They're also the two growth centers of the world, so it really matters what happened there. Both China and India immediately said, not only we disagree with the President of the United States of America, but we will be able to live up to our Paris commitment before time. We will do this faster than we thought. And why is that? Because that gives us some ideas as to what we need to do. I think it is because both China and India are able to link what they do on climate to two other very, very strong domestic issues. One we have heard here, they are linking climate to health. When China very recently closed the last remaining coal power plant in Beijing, because it was good for us, good for the global climate, but it was even much better for the citizens of Beijing who can breathe much better air. So they make the link between health and climate, and that makes the agenda much stronger because people are really determined in Beijing or Delhi or basically every city in both China and India to get clean air. But secondly, they are linking climate to economic development and growth to create jobs. Prime Minister Modi of India is not very often speaking about climate. I mean, it's rare you hear him speak about climate. But very often you hear him speak about clean India, pollution-free India. You hear him speak about electrifying the village. There are still hundreds of millions of people in India who do not have access to the grid. And you hear him speak about the enormous opportunity for green jobs coming from going green and taking care of the environment. And these are the two linkages we need to do to make the agenda much stronger, to link climate to health and to link climate to economic prosperity and growth. If we fail in doing that, frankly, we will just speak to the intellectuals.
Yeah.
And we cannot continue to do that.
Right.
Well, the clean energy transition offers a historic economic opportunity for growth and job-rich development while leaving no one behind, as you just said. So how can the Paris Agreement and the SDGs help us develop our economies and our societies without further harming the planet and our health?
If you allow me one answer to that, to link up much more with business. Because nearly all the innovative solutions which we need will be found by business, not by governments. Governments need, as the Austrian minister said, they need to nudge business. They need sometimes to frame markets. They may sometimes to set targets. But it's in business the innovations will be made. And the very good news is that every big company of any importance in the United States of America, the Apples, the Googles, the Walmarts, the BlackRocks, they all reacted saying, we want to go green. We are not doing it for the White House. We are doing it for our customers who happen to be the people of the United States. We do it for the environment. But at the end of the day, we do it for our business because this is good business for ourselves. So I think for governments and all us being in the UN climate negotiator, linking up a lot more with business. In the UN, frankly, we have been very bad at it historically. There was a reluctance to business for very long within the UN. That needs to go, it needs to change, and we are now linking up with individual companies and associations of business to do whatever we can to drive that agenda. And of course, what governments need to discuss are what can we do to support business going green? Do we need to do subsidies? Do we need to remove subsidies? Can we use the tax system better? And what are the platforms we can really perform to make the business greener, and accepting that without the enormous innovative power of modern capitalism and business, we will fail.
Thank you. Bravo. Thank you. So I would like to introduce a few more experts up onto the panel now. Please welcome to the stage Her Royal Highness Princess Abse Chigma, founder of Abse Solar. Hello. Hi. Hello. I just have to sit. And up next, also Mr. Jörg Leichtfried, Minister for Transport, Innovation and Technology here in Austria. And Mr. Mattei, CEO of the Austrian Railway Federation. Yeah, there you are.
Her Royal Highness Princess Abse Chigma, you are the founder and the CEO of Abse Solar, and you are the ambassador for renewable energy and energy efficiency of Burkina Faso, your home country. Can you share with us your business approach on providing sustainable energy and empowering people, especially women and children in developing countries?
Thank you. If you allow me first, I would like to, I'm so small, so I do that. I would like to thank the President of Austria and all the Austrian people, the Governor of California, and my brothers and sisters in the room. Many thanks for welcoming us.
Bravo.
Et bien entendu, mon frère Laurent et la sœur Spinoza. So, I didn't forget your question, but you want me to talk about what I'm doing.
Exactly.
I'm an engineer by profession and electricity. Today I have the high heels, but for the occasion. Indeed, I created Abse Solar. It's come from a need. And my sister Maria was talking about indoor pollutions and how bad it is for the health. I will just share my own story. My lungs are weak. Why? Because I made my homework with kerosene lamps. That's where it comes that I say, okay, solutions exist now. If we don't act, we are criminals. And I think that new technology and education can bring, and this education brings us here today. And solutions are everywhere. And for me, when the traditional knowledge meet the scientific knowledge, that's where the world starts changing. It's very important. It's important to always include the bottom of the pyramid people. I'm a highness from the countryside. But let me tell you that our people are great and they're green by nature. And our role here in the room and outside the room, and my sister, Mohamed Amin, I'm sure that you're watching us. it's very important to come together, to together matter, to really bring solutions. I'm doing solar home systems as well, street lighting, solar water heaters. But what is important is to train the people to be able to maintain and install, and also listen to them to create that local ecosystem who can empower them, who can really lift up. And that's what I'm talking about greening up. Because sometimes we're talking about top down. How do we break down the SDGs all the way down to the people on the field that they can own it, that they can be on the driving seat? It's about ownership. And that's why Governor Schwarzenegger doing that, because it's from the local authorities, and local authorities, traditional authorities, they know what the citizen needs. And always, if we listen to the bottom, we will always get it right. And what it is, the climate, the Paris Agreement, it's about us. It's about human being. I'm just coming back from Mexico, where our youth, 800 youth, who's talking about energy, goal number 7, that is critical for them to create new jobs. But they just sent me an invitation to come right there. I didn't know that they were existing. They said, yeah, but Princess, we're following what you're doing. People need more people like you in this world to make the difference, because you're inspiring us. We need to inspire our youth, because they have the key how to move the world and the low economy, low carbon, decentralized with clean energy, and that is very important. Africa needs to create 18 million jobs per year. We rely on the informal sector. Our economy, the engine of our economy is informal. So that's where, for me, our tomorrow multinational will come up. And it's our role into this room to come together. And again, many thanks for Austria for gathering us all of here. And we need to come up with solutions, with targets. Since 6 months, I was able to impact 250,000 lives of people. I don't want to come out of this room without a partnership, a MOU signed with some of the leaders here, that next year when we gather together, that we're able to say, yeah, what we decided, we have done it. So I thank you, Asabe, for the moment.
Well, thank you so much for your inspiring words.
Thank you, Princess, for your very compelling words. Thank you very much. Okay, well, we've just heard about renewable energy solutions. Mr. Leichtfried, you are the Minister of Transport, Innovation and Technology, and your key political priorities are clean technologies, research and innovation for a low-carbon future.
So my question comes from me this time. Minister Leichtfried, what is Austria's approach to build up smart cities and regions and to implement low-carbon mobility?
So thank you very much, and thank you very much for inviting me here. It's absolutely sensational what was spoken before. I must admit I already had been to Norway and looked how the electric car system is working there. I'm absolutely convinced that all over Europe and all over the world you find best practice models that you can also use here. And I'm also find it very, very, very clever how the marketing of the electric cars in Norway goes. I don't know if you know, there's a TV series that's called Lillehammer, where a American gangster is going to Lillehammer because he with a new name, and he is driving an electric car there. So that's really good. And I'm also happy that now the greenhouse gas emissions by the transport sector are coming more and more into focus, because that's quite new. I remember when I was in the European Parliament before, fighting against transit transport and all those things, nobody took this really seriously, but now it's the case, and that's good. And what we are going to do in Austria is to have two main targets. One is public transport. We are the best in public transport within the European Union. That's also because of the Austrian railways, but not only because of the Austrian railways, I must admit. We have a lot of railway companies and others who are doing their job very, very well. We have one target. One country is in front of us. That's the Swiss. Yeah, difficult to reach, but we have to. And the second one is, of course, we also have to decarbonize individual transport. And here I would say Norway really is a front runner and an example how to try to do it. We are slightly successful as well. We are now #1 in new licenses within the European Union for electric cars. And of course, we also have to think that this is a job opportunity for people in Austria. I don't know if you know that, but we have a very well-equipped car production industry, especially in the district where Mr. Schwarzenegger and myself are coming from in Steiermark. And the estimation is we can get about 34,000 new jobs with electromobility. And I must say, let me say it that way, I would never say that the Austrian engineers might be better than those from California or elsewhere, but if somebody else would say it, I would say nothing against it. So maybe that's something I would like to say as well. If you speak about smart cities, we have to admit that nearly half of the people in Austria are living in cities with smart city projects, and they are doing quite well. It's about energy efficiency, new technology, and finally, I might say new technology is the answer. And we are really heavily enforcing new technology, especially in energy sector, because there we can lead, I must say, and bring things forward. And I think that's Austria's ambition, not staying behind if it goes on climate protection, going forward and being one of the best. I think that's what we shall do.
Yeah, Österreich. Okay. So as we've been hearing, to meet the goals of the Paris Agreement, we have to switch from conventional to innovative low-carbon mobility technologies. E-mobility and public transportation play a crucial role in this future scenario.
And I'm sure that the Austrian Railway Federation, Austria's largest mobility services provider, will still have a leading position in this future we're talking about. Mr. Maté, you are the CEO of the ÖBB. My question is, how can Austrian railways concretely contribute to fostering sustainability and strengthening carbon-free mobility?
So, first of all, I will answer in German to transport all my emotions right from my heart in the matter of green mobility, weil wir sind größter Mobilitätsanbieter, damit Leitbetrieb, die Verantwortung tragen, nicht nur in ökonomischen Fragen, sondern auch in ökologischen und sozialen Aspekten. Wir haben eine Reihe von Projekten gestartet, um auch unsere Verantwortung in dem Bereich der Ökologie zu unterstreichen. Wir haben mittlerweile eigene Solarkraftwerke, die unmittelbar in die Oberleitung hier Strom einspeisen können. Wir haben bei unseren Projekten, wo wir dankenswerterweise unsere Bahn modernisieren können, eine Reihe von ökologischen Ausgleichsmaßnahmen, um hier die Verbindung zwischen Wirtschaft und Natur herzustellen. Wir verwenden mittlerweile in der Entwicklung Hybridlokomotiven, um auch den letzten Anteil an CO2-belasteter Mobilität im Schienenverkehr hintanzuhalten. Es geht uns aber auch natürlich um Energiesparen, um energiesparende Fahrweise, um das Rückspeisen von Strom von der Lokomotiven wieder in die Fahrleitung. So ist es uns gelungen, vom Niveau 2011 mittlerweile über 10% an Strom einzusparen, obwohl der Verkehr ja jedes Jahr hier weiter wächst. Und wir sehen uns damit als Vorreiter im Bereich der Klimaziele. Ich würde sagen, Bahnfahren heißt Nerven sparen, heißt aber auch CO2 sparen. Warum? Weil Bahn ein umweltfreundliches Verkehrsmittel ist, gerade in Österreich. Wenn man bedenkt, dass der Pkw beim Transport etwa 14 Mal so viel an CO2-Bedarf hat als die Bahn, ein Lkw beim Transport von einer Tonne gut 15 Mal so viel, ein Flugzeug überhaupt 40 Mal so viel CO2 benötigt als die Bahn, dann sieht man, wie ökologisch Bahnfahren sein kann. Und für Österreich im Speziellen zeigt sich noch, wir transportieren mittlerweile über 95% aller Menschen und Güter in Österreich mit erneuerbarer Energie. Und unser Ziel ist, hier auf 100% hochzukommen in den nächsten Jahren. Das honorieren die Österreicherinnen und Österreicher. Wie Herr Minister Leichtfried schon gesagt hat, sind die Österreicherinnen und Österreicher die fleißigsten Bahnfahrer in der Europäischen Union. Schweiz ist sozusagen ein spezielles Thema, aber ich glaube, die werden wir auch noch entsprechend schlagen. Und bedeutet für mich, wenn wir die Pariser Klimaabkommensziele erreichen wollen, dann ist Verkehr und ökologischer Verkehr ein ganz zentrales Mittel und Schienenverkehr ist nicht eine Lösung, sondern meines Erachtens die Lösung. Und um mit den Worten von Gouverneur Schwarzenegger zu sprechen, less talk, more action, wir haben keine zweite Erde. Danke.
Vielen herzlichen Dank. So, Mr. Solheim, in order to wrap up the discussion, I will ask you the main question I asked in the panel before. Are the important initiatives we just heard enough to meet the goals of the Paris Agreement and the SDGs, or is there anything, according to you, we have forgotten to focus on?
If you allow me to mention just one initiative, I would say Austria, as everyone else, should immediately ratify the Kigali Amendment. Kigali Amendment was made last fall. It is building upon Paris, and Kigali Amendment, which is phasing out all the negative climate substances from air conditioning, from firefighting equipment, from basically everywhere else. That agreement alone will reduce global warming with 0.5 degrees. Then we should add to that a Kigali Cooling Alliance, which would be to make all the air conditioning and firefighting and heating systems, we should make them much more energy efficient. And by that, we may even add another 0.5 degree. I mean, scientists are discussing that, but for sure we will add a lot to that if we can do that. When I was in the Norwegian government, I learned one lesson from my prime minister, and that was, please do what is cheap and easy rather than doing what is expensive and difficult. And this is cheap, this is easy, it's just let's do it.
Thank you very much for your input.
Speaking of cheap and easy, we want to conclude this session with a very short question and with a very short answer. And I think you kind of summed it up a little bit, but let's just do this. What is the most important instrument to reach the 2030 goals? Starting with Her Royal Highness.
I think that is implementation.
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 Okay.
This is and partnerships. What we're doing today is very innovative. And I think if we come up together, the sky will be the limit and we really can unleash the potential of the people in the field and also get a peace environment to live. Because when I see my kids, I'm a grandmother, my grandchild will turn one year in August, but I'm so sad when I see our kids lying at the bottom of the Mediterranean. It hurts. But we have the key to change it with innovative finance, implementation, and trust, because we lack a lot of trust. And also trust on our next generation, because they know the way to do so. And with the initiative Marmalade for Sustainable Energy, with our youth, we're going to make a triangular cooperation, South-South cooperation with Europe and Latin America, just to make it happen.
Okay.
Implementation will be the key.
Implementation, partnership. Thank you. Mr. Leichtfried, what can we do? What instrument do we need to reach 2030 goals? In a nutshell, as they say?
You might know that in the Austrian government there are now some minor problems.
Yes, I do know that.
But I can tell you the government is still working, and especially Mr. Ruprecht and myself are working quite well together. He now actually sent me a text message to tell you that this agreement now is in the Environmental Committee, and we are both very confident that we will get the positive
Wow.
result through the
That was
committee.
quick
So that's
implementation.
something to
Love it.
maybe to mention. Yeah.
Bravo.
To answer your question, I would say there's not one solution, as also some people here on the panel said already. It's about a lot. It's about transport policy, environmental policy, energy policy, and so on and so forth. It must be a combination. But I think the most important thing is to bring the people on board and to make them believe that there is a problem. And it's not only in the United States that there is a politician who might see it differently. Also in Austria, the people say climate change do not exist. And that's something I think that's very, very strange. I don't know what they believe else, but that's rubbish, just to say it clearly. There will be change, but there will be change for the better, and that we have to enforce all together. That's maybe I wanted to say finally.
Thank you. Ein letzter Gedanke.
So, now in
Dankeschön.
English.
Now English? Jetzt habe ich aber mit Deutsch.
So I change always.
Okay.
I would say, as a leader in the green mobility and as entrepreneur, I wish also in the future a strong backing from the government to realize our projects, to realize green mobility in Austria.
Okay. Short and sweet and to the point. Very good.
Well, thank you very much to all of you for your messages and the ideas you replied. I kindly ask you to return to your seat.
Right. After the lunch break, we will go into more details with some more impressive experts from all over the world. And we will
We will also
discuss.
discuss the role of regions and cities, of the finance sector, and the role of policies.
So, but now there is time to talk in smaller groups, in smaller discussion rounds during the lunch break. And the lunch features regional and mostly organic dishes. And I'm sure it's delicious. And in France, on dit bon appétit, mais
Bon appétit,
ici,
exactly.
we say Mahlzeit.
And this is also the moment we say goodbye to the people that followed us on TV. But we will still provide a live stream during this afternoon session. We will reconvene at 2 p.m. to further discuss the issues raised during this morning's session. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. We're looking forward to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger and President Van der Bellen back on stage for the closing ceremony at 16:50. Mahlzeit.